Okay, continuing with the last lesson out of the Bible Expositor. The title is Called to a Wider Outreach. It's telling you to read Acts chapter 10 verses 19 through 33. And it's saying read the book of Acts chapter 10 1 through 48. Starting at the introduction. A revolutionary aspect of the gospel of Hamashiach is its indifference to all man-made barriers. YAHAWASHI ordained that in his church there should be no distinction between Jew and Greek, bond and free, or male and female. All are one in Christ Hamashiach, which is true. But, you know, salvation is for the Israelites. That's in Scripture. This quotes Galatians 3 and 28. That's Esau trying to graft everybody into this thing that isn't for everybody. Like, I just was listening last night to Elder Salakia. I was just listening last night to Elder Malcolm saying how, like, with Judaism and whatnot, you know, the Israelites had laws, statutes, and commandments, and basically you only could be born an Israelite. This Judaism shit is really some shit that Esau came up with, because you cannot convert to Judaism. He went into the history of John Hyrcanus and how they made Esau convert, but at the same time he also went into the history of how, like, back when Herod was around, they were calling themselves Jewish. Like I said, Judaism is just like, I mean, it really goes into the Talmud, the Babylonian Talmud at that. So, like I said, what Esau tries to do is graft everybody into this thing when this is only for specific people. Nevertheless, cross-cultural ministry is never easy. I'm not even going to read all this. Well, I will read that because it's true. When you're going into the Hellenistic Greeks, and, you know, when they had to go speak to the Gentiles, the Jews that were displaced in diaspora, you know, they were basically taking up different cultures. So, so it said the early church had to combat cultural barriers as it expanded outward. Philip took every step toward this in evangelizing the Samaritans and Ethiopian proselyte. Paul would eventually take the gospel to the far-flung Gentile world, but it was Peter that the initial overture to the Gentiles was entrusted, and for him it was not easy. Exposition verse by verse. A clarification of Peter's mission. Acts 10 and 19. While Peter, see, well, they about to go into the story, Peter going to speak to Cornelius, but we at Great Millstone believe because Cornelius, you know, understood the scriptures, and Most High sent, well, Yahawah by Yashim Yahawah sent Peter to go speak to Cornelius. We believe that Cornelius was an Israelite, you know. Now, we ain't saying what he looked like, you know, who's to know what he looked like back then. But like I said, just like when, you know, Philip was told to go Salaki was told to go speak to the Ethiopian. Like I said, it's already been proven that Israelites were in Ethiopia. So why is it so hard to believe that the Ethiopian eunuch could have been an Israelite? As well as what is so crazy to believe that Cornelius could have been an Israelite. If Paul was a Roman citizen and he was an Israelite. So, you know what I'm saying? When you start blowing holes into they made up ass, fucked up ass logic on shit, you know, like I say, if you just sit back one day and just think about the logic of this system, you know what I mean? Like, this system prized the woman over the man so much so that the child comes out of the man's loins, right? It comes out of his seed. It's multiple times spoken of in the Bible. However, this system Esau had created puts the woman on a pedestal. Like, if you're at the hospital, if you ever had any children and you were there and watched how, you know, the woman delivers the baby and they give the father the right to cut the umbilical cord. And then as soon as you do that, boom, you out the way and they back to the woman. You know what I'm saying? It's so funny because they try and put everybody as equals. But Bible tell you that she came from you. She's the weaker vessel. As well as, like, for instance, how this system runs. You know, at the end of the day, you're equal